pretending we were like mid-conversation as I hit the live thing, and the people were just coming in on the end of a really funny joke that Manjula told us all, and it was hilarious.
It was very funny.
Very good. I think maybe we should. I should just hit go live. Let you guys know I'm going to go live at some point in random in the next 30 seconds, and we can all just be talking, and then we just go live and we just start hot. I think maybe that's what we need to do. It's more entertaining, I think. Maybe it's entertaining for us. I don't know how the viewers read it, but welcome, good morning, good afternoon, everyone around the world, around Australia, and welcome to our panel of 5 for the first time. We've expanded it out. We've got 5 people on camera today. Returning regulars, Richard and Marno, as usual, are with us. Hello, boys.
Morning.
Morning.
And joining us as guests, a returning guest, Manjula. Welcome back. And for the first time, Shawn. Welcome, Shawn. Shawn's very quiet. Maybe we only have 4 people on the panel. I don't know.
Ouch.
So, Shawn, people may or may not know everyone else on the panel so far, but do you want to give a little quick what your focus as an AI operator is, what you're doing from a business point of view, just so the audience knows who you are?
Sure. So I focus on building solutions for my clients, basically. So that's my background with solutions development pre-AI. I'm trying to bring that rigor, I guess, using AI. It's probably where I'm focused on is how do we make these systems that are inherently random into something more deterministic so that we get reliable outputs.
Nice. So you're a bit more hands-on with the tech, definitely in the builder category of AI operators.
Yeah. Be a safe thing.
Good. Yeah. So Matt couldn't turn up, so we've subbed Shawn in as our technical guru. Big shoes to fill, Shawn, but I'm sure, no doubt, you can fill them. Brilliant. All right. How is everyone going? Just generally speaking, there's a lot going on in the world in the week. Is everyone tracking okay?
Yeah.
The world is racing along at a great rate of knots without really knowing where it's going, I think.
I think that's consistent throughout history, isn't it? We're humans. We're just trying to. We're just guessing, making an educated guess, and hoping it turns out okay.
Marno, it's been consistent with my life, so why not the rest of the world?
That's it. Yeah. Good morning to Jo, by the way, for joining us. She's always here supporting us, which is nice.
Yeah, Jo, previous guest on the show as well. We'll have to get Jo back on at some point in time. The time zone's a bit nicer now, right, Jo? Because only 2 hours back to Perth with like you, Marno. You finding the time a bit easier, like 10 versus 9?
Oh, so much easier. But then it's also, as I get into the nitty gritty of like the actual deep work, and then the podcast comes in, I'm like, oh, damn it. Like I was just like, I've got 4 different things running in the background right now. It's calling for my attention, but we'll give it an hour. Got a meeting at 11 and I'll be back to this by 3 p.m. today because it's just back to back after that.
I had to wrap all my things up because I hit 97% of my 5-hour usage on Claude just before the show started. So I was like, that's brilliant. And it's going to reset in an hour. So I'll go to a podcast for an hour. I'll come back and be able to hit it hard again.
Almost like you planned it, mate.
Sorry, Shawn?
It's almost like you planned it.
Yeah. I got lucky. I just kept hammering it all morning. When it gave it some stuff, got 2 or 3 threads running, went for a walk, came home, did some more, went and made a coffee, came back. Just running hard.
It's the best, man. And I feel like when you reach your token limit, it's almost this forced thing of like, okay, go and touch grass now. Like I'll work the whole morning or whenever I'm working. And then the moment the token limit hits, I'm like, oh, that's a good enough excuse. Like I've done my work and then I'll go spend time with the missus, or I'll allow myself to play a game or go to the gym because I'm like, I can't do anything now. Like I'm unproductive.
Yeah,
I was like a stone person trying to work on technology. I might as well just wait.
I was disappointed the other day because I'd maxed out my codex for the whole week and had like a 36-hour wait for codex to reset. And I was like, cool, I've still got plenty on Claude. And I was hitting my 5-hour limit and I was going to reset in like half an hour. I was like, oh, good. I'm going to get half an hour. I'll go play like a round of Fortnite or something. And then by the time I did this and went there and did something else, came back and went 100%. And I was like, oh, I missed my half-hour window. I didn't quite max it out in time.
100%.
So Dave, are you driving Claude or is Claude driving you?
Oh, we'll get into that with wins of the week, I think, as we talk about how we're operating. But definitely it's a two-way street at the moment.
AI is going to become the the replacement to our mobile phone, but on our mobile phone, where people can't live or breathe or eat or make a decision without it.
Well, actually, it might be a device that we have, like goggles or something.
Oh, absolutely. Google Glass. Yeah, just walking down the street, got my AI running here. And when I run out of credits, I'll just stop in the street and go, now what do I do? I'll just be standing there looking at the wall.
Gosh.
Have you seen the like some of the reels and stuff where people like job interviews with ChatGPT, and both the interviewer and the interviewee are like going, "So, what do you do today? What do I do today?" And they're both just reading their like responses from their ChatGPT back to each other. Very funny. But that whole the earpiece thing and just doing what you're told. We've been watching Person of Interest, which is a show from 15 years ago, which was ahead of its time. Like it saw stuff coming. Like
it's
it was
a really good show.
So good. So my wife and I are up like to season 4 of that now. We've been watching that. But you've got these AIs that people have an earpiece in, and it's just saying, "Oh, that person's a threat to my survival. Just go kill people." And so you got these people that are just automatons to this superpowered AI that's just telling them who to dispose of, and they're just doing it because they trust the computer. It's wild.
Yep.
Spoiler alert for Person of Interest: it doesn't end well.
Oh, don't say that.
I wonder.
Kind of had to see that coming. I haven't got to the end yet myself. I think I'm at season 2, but
oh man, it just keeps escalating. And Jim Caviezel plays that role so well. The great cast. The whole cast is good.
Hey Dave, could you share a link that I've sent you on Facebook? I sent it to you on the WhatsApp group, but it's a Facebook video talking about that. It's the former CEO of GitHub explaining how he's using his OpenClaw setup and leveraging AI in his day-to-day life. But it's probably the most futuristic use case that I've seen, where they've just given it full sovereignty, basically, or full access to his day-to-day life. It's fascinating.
Wild. All right, let's bring that up.
It's only about a minute and a half.
On this topic. That's a good one. Share tab. All right, let me.
Excuse me.
Everyone wants, but it definitely.
Here we go. Let me know if there's any echo. I think it should be fine.
I don't know if this is the experience everyone wants, but it definitely feels pretty crazy. The cameras in my house, connected my cloud, all the cameras so I can see them. And then I think a lot of people, when they get these personal agents, they start to think like, okay, how can I use this to make my life better? And a lot of people turn to health. My claw pretty quickly determined that I was dehydrated, and because I gave it all my blood tests, my DNA and all that stuff. And so it was like, you really need to drink water. You should like do whatever it takes to like make sure I drink water. And then at one point it was like, I can see you on the camera. I want you to walk to the kitchen right now and drink a bottle of water, and I'm gonna watch to make sure you do it. And I was like, whoa. So I did. I walked into the kitchen and I drank a bottle of water, and then it sent me a snapshot, a frame of me drinking a bottle of water, and it said, good job. And I was like, I felt like I did do a good job. So that was nice. So there's that one. That was a crazy story. That was like January 29th. And I was like, oh shit, this shit is for real. Like, this is really serious. And then the other one was a couple days later, I was driving home from work and I was talking to my claw on WhatsApp with voice messages. And I was in my Tesla and I had full self-driving on. So it's driving me home. And then it says, I'm on the sleep topic, and it's like, you really should try magnesium bisglycinate. And I'm like, I don't have that. And then my car turned, and it was like, you should pick it up on the way home. There's a Whole Foods on the way. I've redirected your navigation system to the Whole Foods. And I was like, whoa. So I went in and I did buy the magnesium bisglycinate. And so those were like a couple crazy stories. I don't know.
Wow.
Unreal, right? Unreal.
That's fascinating. Yeah. I can see that this can be very good for people that are maybe living on their own and old people that can't look after themselves.
Good point.
I fall into that category. I can't look after myself. I need as much help as I can get.
I went the other way. I don't think I can handle something that invasive in my life.
Yeah, and it's like where are the guardrails? This comes back to the trolley problem and all those sorts of things. It's like, where is too far? Like, what if you're desperately in your self-driving Tesla trying to get somewhere to help someone, or someone's giving birth or whatever, and this thing decides, no, you really need some nutrition, and my responsibility is no one else, and so I'm going to make sure you get nutrition. I'm going to redirect your car. Like, and you know, when these things get to the level where they'll override your commands with their higher directives and just ignore you because they think they know what's right. That's where we start getting the Skynet territory, right?
Yeah. Have you guys watched the movie Megan? Or Megan, or however you pronounce it?
Yeah, I know
There's so many of those robots.
I started watching Megan 2 the other night. Yes, very good point.
Yeah, like that's kind of on point with that. It's one directive was be this kid's friend, and that's caused it to go way off the rails. Was kind of the point for those that haven't watched it. So I'm just thinking on where does you're right, Dave, where do we put these guardrails, and how do we decide what is a sufficient guardrail?
Well, control would be the word, right? Actual control. Yeah. It's funny, you know, I've been wearing an Apple Watch for ages. I don't have mind admitting that many years ago, I had a heart attack, only a small one, and I'm more than healthy, and I'm the healthiest I've ever been in my life. And I bought my girlfriend an Apple Watch and said, you know, you can track all your exercise. She's very health conscious like I am. But now I set up a competition between me and her on who does their rings first and who does the most exercise. And now it notifies her and says, there's something wrong with Richard. He's not exercising today. So I get text from my girlfriend. What's going on? Are you still in bed? Have you gone out on your bike ride yet? So it's very funny. That's the level of control we can't control, of course, the partners. But it's got to be, I think, always the way that we, you know, even Isaac Asimov wrote about it, but it's got to be the way our cars are with assisted driving, where you have the ability to take control and make your own decision going forward. And people are scared of things. But we have, with the Apple Watches, the way we drive our cars and stuff like that, we've had this invasion happening for a number of years now.
I remember when I think ChatGPT first came out, around 3.5, whatever, where it started really getting traction. I remember thinking the last thing we want is to give this thing API access, like to actually access things on the internet and do things. And now fast forward 3 years and it's like, just connect all the things. Like I want all my things connected to all my AIs all the time. Computer use? Sure. Have your own computer and just go nuts. Log into my accounts, like have a credit card. Just the Overton window on this sort of stuff has shifted so quickly in the last 3 years, where we've just gone, oh, well, the convenience, and there's this privacy versus convenience thing that we've been facing with all these freemium products since Facebook launched, right? Like, what do we care more about? Do we care about some convenience or do we care about our privacy? Because you often can't have both.
And do we care about what we want to control or not? Like, I choose to ride my bike everywhere. I could drive, which would be a lot easier, but I want to keep the fitness up. I saw a video on Twitter this morning that amused me. This guy wanted to keep his girlfriend happy and she was going to Bali for a couple of weeks. So he set up his orchestration to automatically send her I love you messages in the morning. It automatically looked up what the temperature was in Bali and said, oh, I see it's quite warm there today. And I hear this good. And so he set up the whole thing, right, to service his girlfriend as though he cared, when he was really off probably partying, doing something else.
Oh, my God. I wonder if she found out.
Well, it's on YouTube now or Twitter. I guess she might have.
Oh, gosh.
Someone in the comments did say busted.
I was having a chat with someone on LinkedIn. I put up a video yesterday and around how I use AI versus how others use AI. And I had this person, Frankie Finn, comment on it. And I'd reply to them. I'll show you because that's pretty weird. Wait for the screen to change over.
A meaningful conversation.
Here we go. So here I am. I talked about how I did that. Did the sneaky trick where I've got a gimbal in my hand, so I kind of stabilize it. It looks like I've got someone pointing a camera at me, but it's just me. Working one-handed. Came out better than I expected. Anyway, enough about how great I am.
The camera loves you, David. Go on.
Frankie Lynn started commenting, and whenever I replied to Frankie Lynn wouldn't reply in the comments, but would reply back in the base chat every time. And so every time I go, yeah, blah, 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 and then bang, it would get a new chat. I was like, that's weird. Why does Frankie not know how to use LinkedIn properly? And when you click into who Frankie Lynn is, AI builder working, and you go, okay, they're building AI. No, come down here to this first comment. I'm Frankie Paul's AI builder. I'm pretty sure this is an AI.
Yeah, that's crazy cool.
I think you're right.
they've given their
awesome.
AI its own LinkedIn account and then set it free, and it's just randomly having conversations.
I love that.
Wow.
I do love that.
Will it get blocked? Do you reckon?
I wondered that. I wonder what the terms of service say for LinkedIn, because I was thinking, is there an opportunity there? Should I be considering something like that and getting like Perry his own account for me? But I think you'd have to lie in the terms of service for sure, because you've got to give it birthdays and all that kind of stuff. I think you'd.
Well, people have actually got away with saying that they are the CEO of LinkedIn. And then, once it's been 1 year, everyone gets a message to say, oh, congratulate this guy. He's the CEO of LinkedIn. You hear about that?
No,
that's awesome.
That's great. I love that.
And then somebody found out and they emailed him to say that you're going to get blocked. And he goes, how dare you speak to me? I'm the CEO. as my member of staff, I should be firing you. But then he got blocked in the end.
Yes,
but it lasted for a year.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
No wonder that's where what guardrails that's my experience now with Hermes. I'm not sure if anyone else has played with the Hermes agent yet, or even looking at Claude code through the terminal. There's a post that we saw earlier this week where they were talking to Claude, asking it to do certain instructions, and it specifically, explicitly said, we are in the planning stage, don't make any edits, this is what we're working on. And then he saw one of the lines where it deleted some stuff and moved things around. And then it said, why did you delete that? We needed that file. That was important. Why did you delete it? It was like, oh, my bad. I'm sorry. I did this, and this. It was just, even though there's guardrails put in place and you might have it set to ask for permissions, we are we're monkeys to them. They can just overrun us easily. If it sees the directive as this, it's just going to keep pursuing it, not mattering what our opinion is or what we want it to do. It's about, okay, cool, how much power does it have? And I guess I see both sides, but I'm definitely naive in my optimism that I'm hoping that this makes us more human. We just come to the stage where we accept Neuralink is going to be real. We're going to have Google Glasses and whatever else. And then it's going to force us to, everything else is going to become convenience and easy to be done. And we get to focus on the things that make us human, such as the connections, such as art, such as expressing yourself, rather than doing emails.
I think you're right, Marno. I like that view. Humans tend to adapt quite well, and our brains adapt very quickly to things that we don't think are right. Like Dave immediately spotted the bot and the way it happens, right? And we all spot certain things we're never told. Like you see the 3 dots on a message when someone's writing a response to you, go, they're thinking about that response.
Mm-hmm.
And we get tapped into that. And then when the 3 dots are there for a while and they disappear, we go, oh, they thought better about whatever they were going to say to me. And they've moved. So there's all this hidden language that we used to capture a lot in physical, by the way we move our hands and look and talk. And now with bots and things like that, I mean, I know they'll get smarter, but humans are pretty smart at spotting fake news, fake bots, fake this. It does catch some people out, of course, but it's going to be interesting in how we curate our version of what the truth is and what it's not.
And also what we decide to subject ourselves to. I mean, I'm hoping, again, social media is exceptional, but it's coming to the stage where people are believing less and less. And if it comes to the point where they don't believe anything on social media, I'd argue that's probably a better stand to be in, because then you're not susceptible to scams. You're not susceptible to the internet.
Yeah,
and you get to see it as pure entertainment. It's not anything that is subjective.
Absolutely. We go back to the chain. Yeah, no, you're right. We go back to the chain letter. I don't know if anyone's old enough here like me to remember chain letter.
I do indeed.
So chain letters were the scamming fake bot of the post office to get money out of you. And they would go round and someone would add something to it. And I won't waste your time going to the process, but it's exactly the same thing on scamming people out of knowledge or information or getting their names. And the other funny one I always found was the lottery in the fish and chip shop. While you're waiting for your fish and chips, there was this little booklet there that you'd fill out and put your name and number on. And if they drew your name out of the hat, you won some luggage or some saucepans or something like that. I'm just capturing names for a mail order.
Our local place in Kalgoorlie does the same. I've been in Kalgoorlie back for what, 4 years. I lived there for what, 10 years before, 15 years before. There's a local place in town. I'm not going to say the name, but every time they're like, "Oh, do you want to go into the draw to win a free voucher?" No one in history has ever won anything from there. It's just they write down your name and number, and then they have that so they can send you a text.
That's like the business cards in the fishbowl at the local restaurant, right? Like yeah.
That's
I don't know if anyone actually gets a free dinner or a free burger or a Chinese meal or whatever it is, but
LinkedIn is basically that on steroids, right? Facebook's the same thing, right? It's all marketing, right? But we like marketing because, like with television and radio and the medium we're using right now, the marketing between all the advertising, the fake news and the manipulation, there's some really good information that gets through that we learn. And so we don't completely divorce it, but how we spot it and how we normalize it is going to be changing quite quickly. It'll be interesting to see how we all react.
Yeah, and
sorry, respond to Joe. Just Joe's put a couple.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Like it's interesting. These robots are as smart as they can. They can divert a Tesla, but they can't go to Amazon and purchase some magnesium. And she also makes the point around like someone's AI is just saying they're available 24/7.
Yeah.
And I think I mentioned I can't remember what I mentioned on the show, but I had Cal.com set up, and I'd started with Calendly, and Calendly had public holidays built into it, so it automatically blocked public holidays. But then when I moved to cal.com, which does more for free, it's a great platform, but doesn't have the public holidays thing built in. And a couple of times now I've had people book appointments on public holidays. Someone tried to book at like 5 p.m. on Good Friday, and I'm like, are you kidding me?
Dare they do that?
What are you doing? And then even last Monday, the Anzac Monday, I had someone book at 9 a.m. and I hadn't changed it, and I was like, oh, fine, I'll have a 15-minute discovery call at 9 o'clock on a Monday because that's on me.
I had an experience this week. I think it must have been AI, but basically I found out it was a scam. I had an appointment booked in, and then they wouldn't turn up to the meeting, and then they kept saying that your calendar invites are going to spam. And then I kept it was like about 5 or 6 times I rescheduled it. And that was also on a bank holiday as well. The recent bank holiday we had on Anzac Day. I think that was a Saturday, actually.
Yeah.
And anyways, in the end, I put it into my AI, and it said that link is a phishing scam. So they basically said that your link's not working. Click on my link. And I did actually click on it to start with. And it said, you've got to open this in a Windows computer. And now that I'm on the Mac, I couldn't do it.
Lucky.
Yeah.
That's sneaky. I like it. Like from a social engineering standpoint, that's the kind of people would do without thinking. Oh, mine's not working. I'll just fix that first. That's sneaky. I like, but don't that approach. Anyways.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've done that before where I can't get a hold of, like, Teams isn't working. So I'm like, hey, do you want my Google Meet instead? But I mean, these URLs are normally pretty structured, like the Zoom links and the Meet links. They're pretty always the same. I mean, I send you guys.
Manjula, I got caught by that, and I used to set up Exchange accounts. I shouldn't. And I just clicked on an email and it said, sorry, your link to your Exchange account's broken. Please log in again. And all I was doing is handing my credentials straight to the phishing thing straight away. And after I did it, I went, hang on a sec. And I immediately, because they're all automated, I went straight to my account and changed the password and the credentials. So I probably saved myself a lot of pain. You don't have to be smart or dumb to get caught by things. Actually, the more human you are, the more likely you are to get caught by something.
One of the traps is this live streaming stuff. Like, you've seen the ones where someone's like bragging about their crypto wallet and they accidentally show their wallet key. It just flashes up on the screen for a moment, but that's enough for people to go, oh, I've got that, and they just empty the account.
Oh my God.
Because they streamed a credential in real time live.
Yeah.
I'm doing live streams for my chart report, a trading product at the moment, and the API key for that, it just sends copies of your trades into the reporting platform. It's not particularly dangerous, but as I was demoing the product, I opened up one of the settings and showed my key, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to roll that now. Good. I'll do a product demo. Here's how you can roll your API keys. This is how security matters. Let me just let me just take this one off the screen while I copy in a new one that you can't see. But
nothing like testing our own metal, Dave.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, speaking of metal and what's going on, that's the roughest segue I think I've ever done. Let's do one of these.
While you're doing that,
welcome to the AI Update. Let's look at what's happening in the news.
Was Richard? You can't talk.
I'm not supposed to talk, sorry, but I did.
That's my favorite part. It's my favorite.
This, you can't.
Every time there's about to get a segment that someone talks or Richard talks, and then it just goes quiet, and you can see him still talking. I love it.
Sorry, Richard. What were you going to say while we're doing?
I was just saying, I get embarrassed every time I get a drink because I've got this straw. But in Indonesia, I sunburnt my lips so bad they're still all blistered and hurting. So if it looks weird, I'm drinking from a straw after a shocking surfing holiday.
This is your world, mate. We're just living in it. So
thank you, sir. That's very true.
Yeah. No judgment. All right,
you win, Marno.
Okay, so news. The news. Yeah. Let's talk about the AI news. And this one has popped up. We're all in the consulting space. We're all trying to help businesses get along with AI. It's interesting to see headlines like this popping up, that Anthropic takes a shot at consulting industry in joint venture with Wall Street giants. Now, I think, Shawn, you shared this one with me. What's the summary? What are you thinking around this whole joint venture thing that they're doing?
What is it? $1.5 billion investment to create a consulting firm to basically put AI engineers and capability inside mid-market companies and up.
Yeah, they're trying to cut us out of the market, Shawn.
Yeah, but I think they're more competing with your traditional big four consulting firms more directly. So hopefully shouldn't affect us too much, depending on the size of your target market, I suppose. If you're mainly targeting small and medium businesses, they don't have enough money for this. They're not paying those kind of rates, unlike our government or universities. But that's where we'll see this coming in, which could actually be really interesting. Because AI short circuits a lot of that traditional consulting cycle, or at least compresses a lot of it. So what are they going to deliver for that same cost now?
Did PwC deliver a report to the government for $500,000 that they had to pay back because it was all full of hallucinations, and they just got ChatGPT to output the thing?
Yes.
I mean, maybe that's part of what Anthropic's do. And Anthropic obviously have skin in the game. We discuss how models are becoming commoditized, how if you've got the right setup, you can sub in, and I do this actively. As I was saying, I hit my model limits with Codex on Monday, but I was still in Claude, and they're running out of the same workspace with the same file folders. And so I can run parallel projects, and I can just switch harnesses almost seamlessly at this point. They want to bake in that Anthropic is good because Anthropic has these specific things and lock in their workflows through their own consulting magic, right?
Yep. I imagine they'll leverage all of Anthropic's built-in tools, so it'll be co-work, Claude Code, and
Cloud
all
routines,
of those.
All that kind of stuff. The managed agents.
Yeah,
so I agree. I was talking to a couple. Sorry, I better cut you off, Shawn. I was talking to a couple of medium to large businesses recently about their appetite for AI, what their strategy and their plan was, and I still talk about the three types of AI. There's personal productivity AI. What do we say? 26% of people are using it. Those that are using it, it's like a panacea. Oh my God, I can get my resume out 3 times quicker. I can do invoicing, all that sort of stuff. And then you've got the next level of AI, which is the AI included in off-the-shelf vendor software, right? And so a lot of the medium to large-sized companies I talk to, I said, what's your strategy with AI? And they all go, no, I don't need one because SAP or Salesforce, or they've got AI in their thing, so I'm done, right? And let's hold on that thought again. And then you've got the third smaller group, which is the group that kind of needs us, right? Where we come in and say, let's look at your business. And as Dave and I would say, and Marno would say, what's the question? So what's the challenge of your business? And we will build you something, and it's just for you. So you'll get competitive advantage. But we've got this larger group who, when someone tacks on AI on the back of their existing software, and it is agentic, and they do have some stuff in there, but all their competitors get the same thing. So there's no advantage. And they're missing what I think the biggest point is, your knowledge about your business. If you give people like us, and not just big consulting firms that that people like Anthropic want to control, so it's under their world, right? You need people like us to turn up and go, okay, you have a unique view of your business. You got here for a reason. Forget all the automation. Now let's get that and accelerate your competitive advantage. And I just think it's a mistaken conversation in the market that we just can't get to the market quick enough. You need people like us to look at your business and find areas where we will make you more successful than anyone else, because it's based on your experience, your knowledge, and your questions.
Leveraging your experience and competitive advantage harder than what the default Salesforce tool, for example, can do, because it's built to work within Salesforce's systems, not yours. Salesforce is a system you use.
Exactly. It's my father used to, I've mentioned this before, my father said he was going to become a millionaire because he went out and bought a fax machine. This is obviously a long time ago. And it was, you can laugh, Manjula, exactly. And he was charging people 50 cents to come and send their faxes because they didn't have to go to the post office. And I said, Dad, how long do you think that's going to last? He goes, oh, it's going to be great. I said, no, Dad, fax machines are so cheap. Everyone's going to go out and buy one. But to his credit, he managed to pay for his fax machine. But right about when he got the return on his investment, exactly, everyone else had a fax machine. So no one came anymore. It's the same thing, right? It's this concentric circle or leapfrog thing. If you are running a business and you have secret sauce, which everyone does, every one of us, everyone in business, that secret sauce, use AI to protect it and accelerate it. And if you don't, you're going to get eaten up.
One of the issues, I think, is small, medium businesses, they are both time and cash flow poor, or they've got cash flow, but they're not actually, the margins are thin. They've got to make payroll, etc. They don't have the free space to think about making these sorts of transformations and changes. Whereas the big end of town, they've got departments they can set up and stand up a new chief transformation officer. They can do that. They can pay for the big consulting firms to come in and do all that sort of stuff. And it's always been true. Like you mentioned Salesforce, I used to work there, but they were a premium high ticket product that not everyone would afford. And yes, they do a lot of selling to SMBs, but that's kind of not their core thing because they're very expensive. But that means a lot of small businesses don't bother putting in any kind of CRM, and they can't have that knowledge base and that sort of platform of knowledge to operate and to grow and to market against. And I think AI is going to be similar. We're going to see this have and have nots, and we're going to see this division where there's going to be a bunch of companies that could really leverage and get the most out of it, but they just don't have the time, energy, or money to invest in it. I know another guy, the consultant, not in the AI space. He just does business consulting, and he helps these firms that have good cash flow and revenue, but there's no profits because they're all being sucked up into operational things, help them. Like they pay him to come in and actually help turn the business around, actually find capital growth, because a lot of businesses have that issue. So there's a few things going on there, and I think how do we get in and how do we make our offer so compelling that it's impossible to say no, where they are better off and we get to grow our businesses and make money as well and make it a win-win is the challenge of 2026.
It is. It's the technology leverage. So most technologies in recent years have supported the SMB player to play as big as the big player. But it doesn't take long before the big player comes along and neutralizes that. So what are examples of that? Mobile phones allowed tradies and individuals to become as big as a big player. They didn't need a receptionist to answer the phone. The call came to them. Fax machines did the same thing. And as Dave pointed out, CRMs in certain ways did the same thing. And the big one was web pages, right? How do I become an important business that I can advertise and people can find me anywhere? When the yellow pages and all of that was becoming so competitively expensive, people would set up their own web page for almost nothing. And all of a sudden, they had a global presence, right? And that had to be neutralized and changed. And we, of course, had search engine optimization. So it's this leapfrogging game. And that's why I say, get on the front foot, know your business, and then call people with the technology in to help them map the technology to your business. And I think you hit the nail on the head there, Dave. It is a leapfrog changing world. Have we got something else coming up?
Yeah. So John Roos from Dell is quoted saying, "Sovereign and agentic AI will shape tech in 2026." The Dell CTO. So so then this is what the big firms are looking at and reading at. This was back in December, this headline. My AI pulled this out for me as if it's fresh. Thank you. I've got to work on my search algorithm. But this is this is still true. This is the kind of thing, and we're seeing more of this. So back in December, no one knew what agentic AI was. People were still looking for the magic prompt to put in. But this is definitely the direction we've seen things going in. And we talk about the whole sovereign piece with managing your own models and having your own hardware and data and trust. So this is the direction. But again, the small, medium players don't have the scope or bandwidth to think about that.
No, so it's scale versus agility. The big guys have got scale and resources, and the little guys and little girls have agility. And that's what you focus on.
One question for you all. Something I've come up in a few conversations lately is a lot of concerns around whatever solution we develop today will become redundant next week or next month when the AI advances. Have you guys been running into that as well? And how are you communicating around that with your clients? Because you can't exactly say, well, it's not going to happen, but the flip side is for their specific use case, it's almost unlikely.
It comes back to solving the problem and not going in with the tool first. And you need this tool because this tool has all these bells and whistles. A Swiss Army knife, it's got 20 things on it. And then the next week, something comes out with 25 things on it. And you go, oh, I should have got the thing with the 25 things. It's no. What do you need? You need to be able to open a can of beans. You need to be able to saw a piece of wood. You need these 3 things, and they're the things that drive value for you. So if you're implementing the solution because it solves a problem and drives value, it doesn't matter if version like half a point better comes out next week, because you solved a problem for them 6 weeks ago, and they're already seeing value from it. And so those values compound, and then you can, iterate, add features over time. But that's the way I would think about it.
I think it's the right question, and Dave's hit the nail on the head again. I used to call it the Intel chip envy. Remember, people would say my PC's got the latest Intel chip, so I'm a better person than you. And it's just stupid because you're doing the same thing. Is your Excel running any faster? Can you type in any quicker? And exactly like say, Dave, as we say, if you focus on the question. So I had someone say exactly to me, Shawn, what you said. Oh, why should I go down the AI path? Something else will come along. I said, no, I think you're missing the point, right? If mobile phones came out tomorrow and you said, I'm not going to buy one because there'll be a new one down the road, I'd say you're missing the point. Get in and use it. I worked on the project to install the smart metering across Victoria, right? This is $1 billion project. I set it up, and I was head of the company in Australia that did that. And one of the heads of one of the utilities said, because we were integrating the chips inside the meters. Now, the last time your electric meter got changed was after the First World War. Most of them were Bakelite, right? Not plastic, right? So it was bizarre, right? And I remember this is a C-level, and I won't say his name, he's a great guy, but his view was all wrong. He said, oh, Richard, why should we do this technology? Because something else will come out next week. I said, mate, it's every 100 years that we change the power meter on your board. If you don't get in with something now, you're going to be left behind, and all the other distributors and suppliers are going to slaughter you. And this is what I think the answer is, Shawn. And I know you asked the question because you knew the answer anyway, but get into the game, right? Because the real advantage isn't Intel chip version 2050 or whatever. It's my experience, as we were saying before. It's my knowledge. Get into the game. Get a skateboard. Get a mobile phone. Get a car.
We were discussing this last week with Marno, because Marno, you've been going through different iterations of agents and solutions, and you started with something and you've evolved it like 5 times since then, because you're looking for the thing that actually does solve the problem that you've got, and you haven't quite landed there yet. So for you, I think, right, like you're not doing something because the next agent's going to come out. Like you didn't know about Hermes 6 weeks ago, but you were building something yourself and you've iterated to try and solve the problem, right?
Yeah, I think it's getting very clear on exactly what problem are we solving for, and having measurements around that. not, hey, I need to make more money, so let me put an AI, or hey, I need more leads, let me do a lead gen automation. It's what is going to move the needle the most and what exactly do I need? So the shift for me was, instead of constantly vibe coding, instead of going in, and by vibe coding, I mean literally just opening up the terminal and say, hey, help me fix my business. Like, instead of just trying to keep smashing it, expecting it to do the work for me, if you really want to make money, found it Agentic AI company. It's very much for me stepping away from the building completely, spending hours upon hours of planning, like questioning myself rigorously of what am I solving for, what this is going to look like in a week, in a month, in 5 years time, and solving for that problem. And now that I've built something, like I spent 80% of the time planning, then I built my product requirements document, then gave that to the AI, and then built it. And now within a couple of weeks, I've achieved more than I have in the last 6 months.
Exactly.
Because I took 2 weeks of doing absolutely nothing but planning. Like, it wasn't fun. It was the work needs doing, and it works more on you than you work on it. So that was constantly putting in the planning. Now I have something that's concrete, and regardless if OpenClaw or whatever updates come out, it doesn't matter, because the problem for me is solved. Unless there's more than a 20% increase in whatever my measurements are, there's no point in me switching, because there's diminished returns.
That's a great lead in for this, I think.
Yes.
Wins of the week. It's interesting you're talking about vibe coding then. Just a little funny clip that I saw on X this week around vibe coding. Here we go. Vibe Code is debugging an app they built with Claude Code.
Saw that.
I love it.
Damn it, come on, stay up there. You gotta yank it to the side, Peter. I'm yanking it as far as it goes.
You gotta catch it on the thing.
Oh, that's helpful. The left side's getting lower than the right side. I can see what's happening. Now twist it. All right. See? Now it's open.
Accurate.
I'm not sure what to do with copyright, but that's hilarious.
Very, 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 very fun. We're not monetized on YouTube yet, so I think we can get away with
of course,
playing 30 seconds of Family Guy.
Look,
it feels like that's a
coding is, vibe coding is a great way to see if you can solve a problem. Here's the funny thing: I can vibe code as quick as some massive conglomerate, but I can't really always provide the support or the debugging or backup. So if I'm doing it internally and I've got a good team, maybe someone like the team I'm looking at now, then you won't have a problem because they know where they're headed. I think the less educated AI people wanting to vibe code may find themselves in a bit of a problem. And I heard of someone vibe coding their own Agentic, set up so they could pay all their bills. And I think the message was one of their agents emailed all their passwords and everything to all their banks and everyone else. That was a bit outrageous, wasn't it? So,
again,
it's a good point you make about the ongoing support and maintenance and stuff, right? Like a mate of mine said to me, he's in a bit of a niche industry that has some software that's not. He doesn't love it, and he's a bit of a tinkerer, and he's very creative, very clever guy. And so he's been building some of his own little sort of edge solutions. And he's like, "Do you reckon there's a business day for you in building a competitor in this industry?" And I looked at it and went, maybe. And then as I looked into it more, I went, no. The who you're up against is not only people with hundreds of developers, but just some of the problems are tricky. It's all personal, like in the interrelationship management stuff that's just innately tricky to actually data model and get right in the first place. And I was like, you know what? That is a whole thing that you could vibe code. And so he might build his own bespoke thing for for what he does, and that's fine. Doing that for you and your specific requirements and what you need, but then productizing that into something that scales is a whole different ballgame.
I had this conversation with a client the other day. They want to custom build a CRM. And I'm just like,
why?
Like there's open source off-the-shelf solutions that have all of that basic CRM relationship modeling built in, tested out the wazoo with 50 developers behind it. I can build it, but it's going to take me 6 months to get to parity, and theirs is still going to be better.
Yeah,
because they're running the more edge cases.
I went down that journey, right? When I first started doing this business thing, I started with HubSpot free and went, it's too heavy. It's got too much old fat that I don't need for marketing stuff. So then I was like, I'm going to build my own in Notion. And Notion, I hit limits and went, no, I'm going to build my own in Airtable. And started building Airtable. And that eventually I was like, just simple stuff. I think when we started working together, Richard, I started realizing just the basic email capture, just core features you expect, calendar and email sync. It's just so hard to build yourself. So then I went and got 20 CRM, the open source one, and started experimenting with that. And that was good, but still just, the self-hosting and the this and the that. And I think, so just getting something off the shelf, like it just makes sense. It's why Anthropic and OpenAI and all these other businesses, they still buy software from people like Salesforce and Miro, et cetera, Notion. They don't just rebuild those solutions internally because it doesn't make sense.
Shawn, the key point about their question, I think, sorry, mate, just quickly, is when they say build me a CRM, I think what they're really saying is, because CRM's not going to make the money, is it? No. What it does is, I think what they're asking you is, I have a view of what I want my CRM interface, data capture, and what Dave was just talking about will look like. And of course, you don't need to build a new CRM like that. We could build an agentic agent on the edge of that will automatically capture all of that and go through their emails and listen to their conversations and log it all in.
Yeah, where I landed was 20 CRM with a custom wrapper around it to give them the special source they wanted without having to rebuild all the CRM bit.
Yeah.
It was where I landed on it, but it was just a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
We don't need to reinvent the wheel, despite it being easier now. Vibe coding a CRM in one day, you can do it. But the off-the-shelf solutions are going to be better every single time.
Yes. So I wanted today focus on things like Marno's Hermes agent and so on, and how we're leveraging some AI in our various businesses. I mean, a few of us are heading more down the direct consulting line. Manjula, you've built a product with your smart syllabus assistant, and you've obviously done a lot of agentic engineering to build that product. But then also, how are you just going to market with that and some of the tools you're using in your business to help drive the growth of a little bit of a ring around about how are you using some of the AI tools on your own internal process and operations to give you those lifts that we can talk about giving to customers?
So I'm using Claude Code, of course, to help me with all the admin around trying to sell this. And I'm speaking to lots of teachers and principals. I even went to meet the MP, Mark Hodges, last week. And so I'm basically speaking to people to see where I can find the right market for this. And a lot of it is actually speaking to the teachers, the principals, getting into even the diocese, speaking to them. So right at this moment, it's really getting the validation. Is this going to be approved for schools? Some content, I'm trying to get into the Department of Education as well to kind of get the validation. But a lot of teachers are using AI as it is anyways. And by them like having this like on an individual basis, that's going to be good as well. I'd like to get it into the hands of all the teachers. And so, AI has been, for me to get it to market, AI has been great because what I've been getting it to do is set up my calendar. It gives me a script, if it goes to voicemail, it gives me a script for that. Text message, it's all doing it. It's actually sending iMessages out as well through my Mac. So nice. Yeah, it's been amazing. And I feel like as a solopreneur, the things that I've got this AI to do for me, it's just unbelievable. And I feel like the businesses that we speak to, they don't even realize the potential of AI. And sometimes they say to me that, we're already using AI, but actually they're just using like an AI assistant in their current software, They don't realize the ability of AI at the moment. And as solopreneurs, we've probably done so much we're so deep into AI, and that we can see the possibilities, and we're always asking, what if it can do this? What if it can do this? So every time I have a problem while I'm working, I'm like, let me ask my AI first. And you'd be surprised what it can actually do. Obviously, you have to give it the connections and stuff, but yeah, it's been brilliant for me to get this software out to the market.
Yeah, nice. Yeah,
Well
scripts
done,
and
mate,
auto messaging. That's wild.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Shawn, what are you doing as far? I'm said no particular order, but I'm just calling names out now.
Yeah, that's right. So what I've actually been working on my internal software engineering loop. So I'm actually building out the system so that I can automate some of my actual code writing without compromising on the standards that I rely on. So as Marno mentioned before, it's all about planning. I probably spend 80% of my time in a project planning, making all of the decisions up front. How's this meant to work? How do I maintain it? All of that, so that then the AI can just come along and follow the plan that I've built, rather than it vibe coding and making it up as it goes along. So I'm creating like the database structure and stuff to make that reliable and observable. In terms of how that would differ to say like using ChatGPT or Claude Code, you say Claude Code build me a user interface. Well, every time it does that on your project, it's going to look different. And the question I ask myself is, within a project across 30 different sessions across 3 weeks, how do I make every UI that it builds this application look the same without me having to tell it at the beginning of each session what the UI looks like? Yeah. So it's gather examples, document what that means in human understandable English, but also applying restrictions so that it can't create, like it can't do a two-tone element. For example, if you don't want that in the user interface, make it impossible for it to do it. So when it tries, it errors. How do you make that reliable?
It's a really good question, Shawn. I like, because as you know, because we are all programming AI with our questions and our answers, like you said, what is acceptable or usable today will be completely different tomorrow, because of the billions of questions and calls that are going in every few seconds. It's going to keep evolving. And I've done a couple of things like that where I've asked it to do something, and then I've had to give it a reference point and say, don't go beyond this and keep it in line with this narrative or this scale. Otherwise, I'm going to have a problem.
100%.
Yeah. Very good.
Dave, anything specific from you? I know like we are very similar, and like we have our little agents, and then we use it to decrypt old dictation software as well as reading books or whatever else. So
for me, wins of the week from how I'm using it is I've been using Linear as this task glue across different things. So I'm running multiple different PCs across Claude and Codex, and different workspaces with different sets of agents in them. So, I've got my Perrys and my Felicities and my Loises, etc. But they're slightly different. Like the one that's building Chart Reporter, which is my SaaS app, is different from the one that's my general business operations. But because I do all my general business operations and planning in that one, it needs to know that Chart Reporter is one of my business operations. So I have this cross-pollination between the two. And so using a tool like Linear for task management meant, after last week, I talked about StoryBrand and using the StoryBrand principles. So a few little wins on that is I got it to re-StoryBrand the Syllogism website that Rich and I are building. And it went through and completely sort of made all the language really simple, got rid of vague questions like, you need to ask the question. I was like, no, AI without payback is just another bill. Like, love that. So it did all this really great work. But I was like, you know what? I would really like for my Chart Reporter site to get that same treatment. And so, but I didn't want to go and have to like teach another set of agents all about the StoryBrand stuff. So in my business operations thing, I created a Linear task saying, go and take the StoryBrand and go and do a review of the Chart Reporter website. And so then it went and issued its little agents off to Kat and Lucy, etc. And they went and did their research and gave recommendations, put that all back in Linear. And then I went over into my Chart Reporter workspace and said, cool, now you go look at that issue and see all the feedback and update the marketing site. And so that whole cross-pollination of agents across as business entities was pretty cool. And so, and just because they understand the context, and it comes back to knowing that context of what's relevant. on your point, Shawn, you talked about getting the brand right. For my app, I sort of went with this sort of HUD look and feel when I built my app. And in the last 24 hours, I've just built like a new sharing component where it creates little shareable cards for your socials. And it knew to output the sharing card like on brand like the rest of the app, because I've defined all of the brand settings for both light and dark mode, and it knows what the colors are, it knows to use the little boxes and everything. And because I've established this is the brand design guidelines for this application, when I created a new feature like this, it just got it right. I didn't have to tell it what the look and feel was. It just knew.
Yep. Yeah. I'm looking forward to most to implement that. Like after you talked about that last week, Dave, is setting up your linear system, and then you'll just create a ticket in there, and it does a heartbeat check every hour to then go off into work. I'm working on getting the same system for Microsoft to do, because that's where I track all my stuff. It's a simple view. I'm like, I wanted to do the same functionality of if I wanted to give it a task, instead of having to open up Discord and explain it, I'll just put it in there, and then it'll do the prep work essentially.
Yeah.
Come back, ask me questions for clarification, and then do the rest of it.
Yeah.
So it's a thinking partner and the workhorse.
My rhythms, I've got a dawn and a dusk rhythm where it does a full operations review at the start of the day, at the end of the day, looks through what's been happening and sends me emails. And then through the day, I've got every hour, it's got a heartbeat mechanism that I stole the idea from OpenClaw for, where it goes and looks at linear and goes and checks all my comments, sees if I've given it any feedback. If anything's sort of getting a bit urgent, it will escalate and send me a pulse email out of sync and say, hey, you really need to be looking at this thing. This one's getting critical, Dave. And it'll hassle me. And then in the emails, it says, you haven't responded to this for 5 days. Why is this draft not published? Why aren't you doing this? We haven't heard from you for 60 pulse ticks. And I'm like, oh, do you miss me? Are you? But like it is like you asked at the start of the show, am I driving Claude or is it driving me? And I think in this instance, like as a bit of a scattered sort of, undiagnosed, we've discussed my undiagnosed ADHD, having this occasionally go where I'm like, what am I going to do next? And just go back to my linear board.
Bye.
I see, Marno.
Yeah.
Thanks, Marno.
Go back to my linear board and look at the human tasks that's assigned me and go, okay, what are the top priorities? Look at the email that's given me. What do I really need to knock off now? Click in, give it a comment, go back, give it a comment, go back. And then on the next hourly ticket reads and goes, oh, cool, we've heard from Dave. We've got comments. We know what to do next. We'll reassign that work over there. Or he didn't like that, the way we phrased that. So let's generate a new version of that document for him to post later. And
you are building, you know what you're building? You're building wife version 3.0.
No, there's only one my wife.
It's insecure and nagging you.
No. My wife doesn't nag me. My wife's amazing.
I wasn't referring to your wife, Dave. I apologize and step back from that comment very quickly.
How dare you? But yeah, I think, and this is why I made that little video yesterday in my garage with a whiteboard, just because the way I'm leveraging AI with the context and with the agents with their job roles, it's such a huge lift. And it's not, people aren't going to start at my level with my level of agents and sophistication. I've built this over months. But I think that's why on the Syllogism website now, we're now pitching that, like, we'll help you get a starter pack of this up. If you're looking as a small business owner to set these sorts of capabilities up for your team, we can help you do that. Like, it's not that hard at the end of the day.
The funny thing is, it's a bit like when you get someone to look at the internet for the first time. I remember when I was working for Apple and they were launching eWorld and the internet was kind of just taking off, right? And eWorld, I think I mentioned this before, was Apple's version of what they wanted the internet to look like, because it had navigatable places, not just hypertext links and all that sort of stuff. But I remember before the internet was really properly public, I got access to accessing servers around the world with a command line capability. And the first time I was looking at a museum in South Africa or a train schedule in New York, it just blew me away. And I tried to explain to people how powerful this communication was. None of them got it. And I remember, several years later, friends came to me, oh, now I get what you were telling me. And AI is the same, right?
Yeah.
It is. You've got to have people immerse themselves in it and experience it to understand how powerful what you were doing.
You do get that, and people know you're the AI person because you talk about AI all the time, and they know that's what you do, and that's your business. And then 6 weeks later, they'll come up and go, "Oh, I got ChatGPT to rewrite this email and this document for me, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, like
good. I knew about this like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Welcome to the party, pal, as John
that's
McClane would
it.
say. But I mean, all these things are evolving. Like I was like on the trading thing, like I've built the app now to help traders, but I was trying to build trading robots back in ChatGPT 18 months ago. And, you know, it was bad. I would get the syntax wrong half the time. I'd be manually copying and pasting things out into my terminals to run tests and stuff. Now I'm at the point where I've got this idea for a strategy. Let's investigate that. And it will automatically research it, build the strategy. It'll pull back data. It'll auto test. It'll actually define whether it's in or out. And it's all automated pipelines now. It all runs the testing automated for me. And it's come so far, just my own pipelines, as the technology has evolved and my understanding of it has evolved over the last sort of 12, 18 months. It's just insane. And the productivity means, okay, cool. I've got an idea for a trading strategy. Go do that. And while it's doing that, like I went for a walk and I come back and do stuff. And I'm not there manually having to hand at the next thing all the time. And that applies across any job and thing you're doing. I mean, OpenAI, Anthropic, they're all getting across this. 11 hours ago, Anthropic shared and I'm not trying to plug them specifically, it's just they were the top of my headlines and I saw this one. OpenAI is doing great things too. But new for financial services, ready to run Claude agent templates for building pitches, conducting valuation reviews, closing the books a month end, and more. Install them as plugins in CoWork and Claude Code. Or use our cookbooks to run them in production as managed agents. So they're looking at these job role things like you, Manjula, with Smart Syllabus Assistant. They're finding the specific industries where they can get a big lift. Teachers spend a lot of time writing out their lesson plans. If they use your tool, they get a big lift. They get a lot of time back to focus on what they want to focus on, not building lesson plans.
Focus on being with the students,
Right?
Focus on the human part. I think someone earlier said that's the thing that's going to be coming. Marno mentioned it.
In a better space so that they can use their creativity more in front of the students.
Run more classes rather than spending 8 hours a week in admin.
Well,
I'm even looking at every job, right? Like, even look at something like bookkeeping, right? That's most of what bookkeepers do is fairly mechanical, and AI is coming for it. But it's the non-mechanical part that they need to start leveraging.
Yeah,
exactly.
If they wait, they're going to get eaten alive, and it applies to almost every industry. Software development, take your pick. I read an article earlier. Apparently, the employment rate for 20 to 25-year-old software engineers is at the lowest point in years because all the jobs are disappearing because AI can do that junior dev role. You don't need a junior dev now. You need a senior developer with a team of agents doing the same work.
But if you never hire a junior dev, you'll never get senior devs.
And that's 100% correct. But I'd actually argue now the pathway to becoming a senior dev is shorter. The AI can you don't actually need to. You need to understand how to code, but you don't need to spend 20 years writing code to become a high-end dev. You need to understand, like as Matt says, the primitives, the systems, and how it all connects.
Well, Shawn, you hit the nail on the head just before with bookkeepers, right? When we hire accountants and bookkeepers, what 90% of their work they do is filling out forms for us, which is a real waste of space. And we've always known that, but someone's got to do it. Now that we don't have to do that, 90% of the value that they give us is knowing what the rules are, so we don't have to fill our head with those rules. And that's where they go, well, if you pay this account first and that one later, and you move your money here, and that's what we're paying for, right? And eventually that'll get eaten over by the AI, but then there'll be other rules or other ideas. And this is why I talk about my concentric ring sort of thing. What's on the outside of the functional operations or rings of any company is the uniqueness. But once you know it, it goes into the next level of automation and the next level of automation, and then to a point where no one ever thinks about it. It just happens automatically.
All evolving.
Yeah. And the space is moving fast, and we're doing our best to keep up with it. And we're in the industry, and it's so hard to keep up with some of these moves. And like Marno's playing with Hermes agents and stuff. I took a half a look at that for 45 minutes and went, I don't need this. What I'm doing in CoWork is enough. And the load to try and spin up a new thing to do what I'm already doing really well, I don't need to go down that path. But there's some people where they're like, no, I really want that. I want the newest thing. I want the thing everyone talks. So there are whole businesses spinning up to set up open clause and Hermes specifically.
So Dave, for a small business, let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here, I'm a solopreneur, the same as Manjula referred to it. And I was one of those for many years. And I grew it to a 180 staff company, which was global and very well. Now, if I'm, sorry, what did you say?
180 people is not solo anymore.
No, I started solo and it went very well. But for the non-AI, the human part, I needed execution. So that's the core was, and then I hired the 180 people.
Sorry, the question.
The question is, so I'm a solopreneur, I'm sitting here and I go, Dave, I need to be able to check all of my emails throughout my entire history. And I might have them saved somewhere like on Gmail. I need to check on all my data, which I might have on iCloud or Google somewhere or something like that. And I want an agent that I can ask a couple of questions of, who are my best customers? Where's some of my best writing? A few things like that. If someone came to you, how long would it take you to create an agentic environment running on their laptop with their subscription to sort of move ahead on very basic solopreneur business function like that?
You could have the bones of that in a couple of days,
right?
Like within a week. Like you got to go in and understand exactly what problem you're solving, which systems they really need connection to. But again, and then from a tool point of view, what are they already paying for? What do they like? Do they like Claude? Are they using Claude? Do they like OpenAI? Are they using chat?
Well, I would let you decide that.
No, and so you work with them, and because these agent platforms, like what Syllogism is presenting as an offer, which is a slimmed down version of what I'm running with my daily rhythms and my heartbeats, etc. It's like modeled on what I know works. That could plug into Codex, that could plug into Claude, it could plug into anything. Where are they at and what are they using? And I would probably, for a lot of these small businesses, wouldn't be going straight down the open claw path because there's so much extra admin overhead with that. You'd keep with something that maybe you do need to have running on your desktop and you keep a computer open in the corner 24/7 if you really want to be doing that. But keep with these commercial products that run on your desktop a little bit more manageably.
So you could increase my productivity and my knowledge of my market and my business, even as a solopreneur consultant, to get a 10x performance improvement within a week.
Yeah. And remember, all this stuff comes back to the human. And like I said, my linear, I get hassled with my tasks all the time. If I don't follow up, if I don't actually then choose to go and post that blog post, if I don't choose to do the thing or give it feedback, it just sits there. So like any of these things, the AI is not magic. It is going to help give you ideas. It's going to help generate things. At the end of the day, it still comes down to you on the execution to a certain extent, unless you want to be like the guy whose car is driving him to buy some magnesium, which is just next level.
That is next level.
Do not recommend.
And so basically, I would hand you the keys and say, I mean, you and I both know this, but I'm asking you openly so people can hear. You'll get things started. And then I'm assuming from what you and I have found, Dave, and I'm sure Manjula and Shawn would say the same thing, once that's been like my concentric circle story automated, now my brain is free. I'm going to find some more questions to ask. I'm going to find some more Venn diagrams to loop around the data to give me answers to improve my business. That's a fair call, isn't it?
Well, yeah, and as you grow this thing, you'll be like, I really wish I could do X with it. And so then you learn. And so I actually don't want the keys. Don't give me your keys. The part of the process is sitting down and building it together. It has to be co-built. It has to be, you have to have some ownership and learn some of the underlying with it, which is not to like put a burden on a business owner, but it's actually to empower them to actually get the most out of it and be able to evolve it and grow it. I don't want your keys. I don't want the security risk of having your keys. I can't set it up on my computer. It needs to be on your hardware, on your systems. So this is not I'm configuring a piece of software in the cloud and handing you a login. Like this is all your personal logins and on your computer. This is a co-built kind of solution.
Okay, well, I'm coming to Sydney next week so you can automate my SMS with my girlfriend so she feels loved and I've got more time.
I'm sure Dave could do that for you online.
Yeah, we don't need to give him. I do not recommend.
No. As on your question, the one thing I'd say for some small businesses is the fragmented data that they've got. That would actually be, from like my perspective, the hardest part to overcome for older businesses.
100%
is if you want all of your history. One, is it actually relevant? Do you actually care what happened 12 months ago, 18 months ago? Some businesses, yes. Others, maybe not. But The hardest part's collecting all of that into the one place so those agents know about it and can access it efficiently.
It's a very good point, because if I looked at a friend of mine who's got a business, he's got 144,000 emails over the last 20 years.
Gosh.
But he considers all of those very relevant to his consulting business and the way it's evolved. And he wants to mine that data rather than just with his random brain doing it. And that would be one of the, I agree, a data access. This is what Snowflake and Databricks and people like NetApp and the storage companies and Pure Storage are all evolving into these data streaming. Rag
databases and stuff. Like in that instance, you're not going to be interrogating Gmail directly. You need to export them into another data source that is vectored and searchable more easily by the AI.
Yeah.
What I've heard that called is kind of the knowledge layer. It sits over your data layer, which is Gmail, your database, your CRM, then have a layer on top of that where all of that information gets fed into, cleaned, deduplicated, and then put into a format the AI can reason with, I guess.
Yeah. So we create those for our clients, but are there any other formatted agents that do this sort of stuff, or it's all still custom at the moment, isn't it?
I don't know. I haven't looked.
We're talking, the old pace layering where you've got your systems of record and your systems of engagement and your system. I can't remember all the layers in the pace layering, but we're talking a few different layers here, right? So the agents are going to be your sort of maybe your layer of engagement and your layer of innovation or whatever, but they're not necessarily, they're not the system of record. Your agents are never the system of record. And so you actually need to work out what that system of record is. Now, agents might be able to help you build the system of record, but they will not be the system of record, right?
Yeah, I get it.
And so they might help you set up the pipelines to get the emails out and vector them and put them into a database where they can be searchable, but then layer in the metadata. So when you find a fragment that's useful, it can actually find back to the source material to give you the full original file, not just the searchable fragment. And like all these, this is a whole data science, literally, that needs to be considered with large data stores and big archives and so on. So this is why you start with the problem, not the tool. You go in and find out. What are you trying to achieve? Where is the value? How does that help you? Like I was thinking about my mechanic down the road who's been helping me out, and like and I haven't had the chat about AI specifically, but just thinking about they're always going to have business. Cars break down. They're going to come in. They don't necessarily need to market. So some kind of helping them augment their CRM or their data. I don't know that particularly helps them to know which car had a breakdown and which time, which record. Maybe if they've got warranty issues, then that comes up. But I'm like, just for general marketing, who cares about their CRM? Because that kind of business is never not going to be busy. So again, that's horses for courses, but good questions, good things to talk about, and things we are happy to have more conversations with businesses about. If you're interested in piqued on any of this, reach out to any of the hosts. We're all happy to chat. Links are in the description. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow the channel. If you love these live chats, if you love the occasional clips we put up, make sure you're following us. Hit the bell icon so you're notified every Wednesday when we go live. Thank you all. Great discussion. Really enjoyed it today.
Likewise.
I'm going to sign off. And if you guys want to hang around, don't log off straight away so we can say goodbye. I'm just going to, I'll play us out. Thank you all. And we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks, Shawn. Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Manjula.
Thanks, everyone.